Have you ever paused to think about why certain people enter your life when you're at your lowest and disappear when you're thriving? It's a painful reality that as we grow older, the longing for connection can make us vulnerable to manipulation and emotional harm. But don't worry, there's a way to break free from this cycle. In this eye-opening video, we'll share 7 crucial insights that everyone in their later years needs to hear. If you're ready to protect your emotional health, reclaim your life, and embrace your remaining years with dignity, this is your moment. We'll discuss how to identify those who may take advantage of your kindness and the importance of setting boundaries to safeguard your peace. Have you ever felt like you're pouring your heart into relationships only to feel unappreciated? You're not alone, and we'll address these painful truths together. It's time to distance yourself from toxic influences, even if they come from those closest to you. Life is too short to be weighed down by negativity. Stick around until the end. These life-changing insights will empower you to take charge of your happiness and live life on your own terms. Don't miss our final piece of advice, which challenges a topic many shy away from but can dramatically enhance your well-being. Let's dive in and transform your perspective on relationships. The first tough piece we love to share is a profound lesson on trust. It must be earned, not handed out freely. As we journey through the later stages of our lives, we often find ourselves yearning for connections that bring warmth and companionship. Yet, it is vital to recognize that this longing can sometimes lead us into relationships where the intentions of others may not align with our best interests. Loneliness is a companion that many face as they age, and in our quest for companionship, we may overlook the signs that someone is not genuinely there for us. Consider the story of Sarah, a vibrant woman in her 70s who found herself navigating the complexities of aging alone after her husband passed away. Sarah craved the comfort of friendship and warmth, which led her to welcome anyone who showed her attention. She developed a bond with a woman named Lisa, who initially seemed like a breath of fresh air. Lisa was attentive and full of energy, often showering Sarah with compliments and inviting her out for lunch. It was heartwarming for Sarah to have someone to share her stories with and enjoy outings. However, as time passed, Sarah noticed something troubling. Lisa would often borrow money and ask for favors, only to vanish when Sarah needed support or companionship in return. This experience serves as a stark reminder that not everyone who enters our lives comes with genuine intentions. Sarah's story illustrates the importance of remaining vigilant about whom we let into our emotional world. As we reflect on our relationships, we must be mindful of those who seem to appear when we are at our lowest and disappear when life gets better. This behavior often reflects a desire to exploit our vulnerability rather than a true commitment to our well-being. It's understandable to feel a strong impulse to trust others, especially during moments of vulnerability. Human beings are inherently social creatures, wired to seek connection. However, it's crucial to develop a discerning eye. We should embrace the wisdom that comes with age, understanding that while many individuals deserve our trust, not all do. It's about balancing our innate desire for connection with the need to protect ourselves. We can learn to assess people's motivations without becoming jaded or suspicious, maintaining an open heart while being selective about whom we allow into our lives. One of the most empowering lessons we can learn is the significance of setting boundaries. It's not just about shutting others out. It's about defining the space we create for ourselves and the relationships we cultivate. Boundaries allow us to establish what is acceptable and what isn't. They act as a shield, ensuring that we engage with those who uplift and support us rather than drain our energy. We have the right to say no to demands that feel overwhelming or manipulative, and by doing so, we reclaim our dignity and self-worth. Think about it this way. When we set healthy boundaries, we're not just protecting ourselves, we're also modeling behavior for others. We communicate clearly that we value ourselves, and in turn, we teach others how to treat us. Just as we deserve to be surrounded by individuals who bring positivity and encouragement, we also deserve to stand firm against those who exploit our vulnerabilities. This act of self-respect creates a ripple effect, encouraging those around us to cultivate healthy relationships as well. It's important to remember that our past experiences are our greatest teachers. Each interaction provides valuable insights, shaping our understanding of who we can trust and who we should be cautious of. By reflecting on these experiences, we become more adept at recognizing patterns and red flags in our relationships. This self-awareness empowers us to make informed choices, allowing us to embrace connections that are nurturing and fulfilling while gently distancing ourselves from those that are harmful. Let's not forget the importance of surrounding ourselves with supportive individuals. Building a network of trusted friends and family can create a protective barrier against those who may seek to take advantage of our vulnerabilities. These connections are about quality over quantity. It's far more beneficial to have a few deep, meaningful relationships than to have numerous superficial ties. These trusted companions not only enrich our lives, but also reinforce our sense of worth and belonging. Sarah, after her difficult experience with Lisa, decided to reassess her friendships. She began to seek out individuals who genuinely cared for her well-being. She rekindled relationships with old friends, those who had proven to be loyal and supportive throughout her life. This shift not only restored her confidence, but also brought a newfound sense of joy into her life. By surrounding herself with those who truly valued her, Sarah discovered that she could find companionship without compromising her emotional health. Remember to extend compassion toward ourselves. It's easy to fall into the trap of self-blame when we realize we've trusted the wrong people. But we must recognize that vulnerability is an inherent part of being human. Every experience, whether it brought joy or pain, contributes to our growth. We deserve to be gentle with ourselves, allowing room for healing and understanding. Practicing self-compassion equips us to bounce back from setbacks, armed with newfound wisdom and resilience. Encouraging open conversations about trust and vulnerability can foster deeper connections with those we hold dear. Sharing our thoughts and feelings creates an atmosphere where everyone feels safe to express their concerns and experiences. This dialogue can be instrumental in breaking down barriers, leading to stronger, more supportive relationships. When we share our experiences and lessons learned, we empower one another to be more discerning in our connections and to cultivate relationships that genuinely enrich our lives. In the next part, the second sign of transformation in our lives comes from an uncomfortable truth: learning to stop living to please others, especially our family. This is one of the toughest challenges we can face, particularly for those of us who have spent years, maybe even decades, giving everything to our children, spouses, and grandchildren. It's natural to want to nurture and provide, but sometimes we fall into a pattern where we place everyone else's needs before our own. This habit becomes so ingrained that we may not even recognize how deeply it affects us. We begin to equate our worth with how much we can give, but over time, this leads to a painful realization. No matter how much we give, it's never quite enough. And in that process, we start to lose ourselves. We need to acknowledge the weight of this realization. For many of us, the expectation that we should continue giving, despite our own needs, comes from our closest relationships. Our family can unintentionally place us in a position where we feel like our only value is in what we can provide. The thought that we are loved only when we are useful can be heartbreaking. But we need to remember that true love isn't transactional. Love doesn't mean sacrificing ourselves endlessly. Love means mutual respect and care. And part of that respect is allowing ourselves the space to focus on our own happiness. This brings us to the crucial point: living for ourselves. The idea may feel foreign, even selfish, but it is neither. The truth is, after years of giving, we've more than earned the right to prioritize our own well-being. The life we have left should be a time where we nurture ourselves. We have to remember that self-care is not selfish. It's necessary for us to truly thrive. When we focus on our own health, happiness, and peace of mind, we are better equipped to enjoy life and, paradoxically, to offer better, more authentic love to those around us. Now, this doesn't mean we stop caring for our family. On the contrary, we will always love them. But caring for them doesn't have to mean sacrificing ourselves. It's about balance. If our family truly loves us, they will understand that we have reached a point where we deserve to take care of ourselves too. If they don't understand, or if they try to make us feel guilty for it, that is a reflection of their expectations, not of our worth. This is where we must draw boundaries with love. Boundaries protect our mental and emotional health, and they give us the space to rediscover what makes us happy outside of the roles we've been playing for so long. There will likely be resistance, both from ourselves and others. We've been taught to believe that our role, especially in our later years, is to remain in service to those we love. But ask yourself this: who is taking care of you? Often, we overlook the fact that while we're busy worrying about everyone else, no one is asking what we need. It's time to change that dynamic. It's time to prioritize the person we've spent the least time caring for, ourselves. This shift will require courage, and it may feel uncomfortable at first. We may feel guilt, as if we are doing something wrong by putting ourselves first. But guilt is often misplaced in situations like this. We need to remind ourselves that living our lives for ourselves, especially after so many years of sacrifice, is not wrong. It's necessary. It's part of our growth and healing. And it's crucial for our emotional and mental well-being. To reclaim our lives, we must learn to say no without guilt, to express our own desires and needs without fear of judgment or rejection. This can be incredibly liberating. For the first time in a long time, we can start asking ourselves, what do we want? What do we need to feel fulfilled? It's time to explore these questions and to live in a way that honors our personal desires, not just the expectations of others. It's important to remember that this transformation won't happen overnight. It's a process. We've spent so long living one way that it will take time to adjust to this new mindset. But with each step we take toward reclaiming our time, our energy, and our lives, we will begin to feel the weight lift off our shoulders. The beauty of this journey is that it leads us back to a place of self-love, a place where we can truly appreciate who we are, not just as parents or partners, but as individuals. We deserve to live our lives for ourselves, without guilt, without shame. We've spent so much of our lives giving, and now it's time to receive the peace and fulfillment we've earned. This is not only a gift to ourselves, but also to those around us. Because when we are at peace with ourselves, we bring more peace into our relationships. The third one that you may hear about, and one that many people struggle with, is the difficult decision to distance yourself from toxic individuals, even if those individuals are family members. We've grown up with the notion that family is everything, that it's the foundation of our lives. But what happens when that foundation starts to crack? How many times have we endured manipulation, hurtful comments, or emotional abuse just because we were taught that family should come first? It's a tough truth to face, but sometimes the most compassionate thing we can do for ourselves is to step away. Your mental and emotional well-being are more valuable than maintaining any relationship that consistently harms you. How would life feel if we weren't constantly giving our energy to people who drain it? What if we allowed ourselves the freedom to set boundaries and protect our peace? Imagine the weight that could be lifted by choosing not to engage with those who continuously bring negativity into our lives. Boundaries aren't selfish. They're essential for our mental health. It's not about shutting people out. It's about creating space where we can breathe, grow, and nurture ourselves without the cloud of toxic influence hanging over us. Take Sarah, for instance. Sarah spent years feeling obligated to maintain a relationship with her older brother, despite the fact that he often belittled her, made her feel small, and never supported her dreams. She would go out of her way to please him, hoping one day he'd change, that maybe he'd finally see her worth. But that day never came. Every interaction left her feeling drained, questioning her self-worth, and even feeling guilty for wanting to pull away. One day, Sarah made the difficult decision to distance herself from her brother. And though it wasn't easy, she soon realized how much lighter her life became without the constant emotional burden. She was able to focus on her own happiness, her own growth, and for the first time in years, she felt free. This example highlights an important truth. Sometimes distancing ourselves is an act of love, not just for ourselves, but for the other person as well. When we choose not to engage in toxic dynamics, we're no longer feeding into the unhealthy patterns that hurt both parties. It's not about abandonment. It's about creating the space for healing, both for ourselves and potentially for the other person, should they choose to reflect and change. We must recognize that we are allowed to prioritize our own well-being, even when it means taking a step back from relationships that have been with us for a long time. Now, another hard truth we often overlook is the idea of letting go of the expectation that others will recognize our sacrifices. So many of us have spent our lives giving to others, whether it's time, effort, or even pieces of our happiness, hoping for a moment of gratitude, a gesture of recognition that never seems to come. How many times have we thought, one day, they'll appreciate what I've done for them, only to feel disappointed when that acknowledgement doesn't arrive? We need to face the reality that expecting others to validate our sacrifices often leads to disappointment. When we place our sense of worth in the hands of others, we set ourselves up for heartache. People may never fully grasp the depth of what we've done for them, not because they're ungrateful, but because they may not see or understand the full extent of what we've given. And that's okay. It's not our job to wait for validation. Our value isn't determined by someone else's recognition of our efforts. Let's think of it this way. When we let go of the need for external acknowledgement, we take back control of our own happiness. We're no longer held hostage by the hope that someone will finally say thank you or give us the recognition we've been longing for. Instead, we can find fulfillment from within, knowing that we did what was right for us, that our actions came from a place of love, and that we don't need anyone's approval to feel good about ourselves. Take John, for instance. John had spent decades making personal sacrifices for his family, working long hours, passing up opportunities, and putting his own dreams on hold, all with the hope that one day they'd understand the extent of his efforts. But that recognition never came. Instead of feeling appreciated, he felt taken for granted. After years of resentment building up, John had a revelation. He didn't need their acknowledgement to feel fulfilled. He began to pursue his own interests, to value his own contributions, and in doing so, he found a deep sense of peace. By releasing the expectation of validation, John reclaimed his sense of self-worth. Then, how do we shift our mindset? How do we stop tying our value to someone else's perception of us? It starts with recognizing that our worth is inherent. We are valuable simply because we exist, not because of what we do for others or how much we sacrifice. Once we internalize this truth, we stop seeking validation from others and start finding it within ourselves. We continue to give, but we do so without expecting anything in return. We give because it brings us joy, because it aligns with our values, not because we're waiting for someone to notice. And in that shift, we find a new level of freedom. Freedom from the constant search for approval. Freedom to live life on our own terms. It's okay to put ourselves first. For so long, we've been taught that putting our own needs before others is selfish. But here's the truth. We can't pour from an empty cup. If we're constantly giving to others without taking care of ourselves, we will burn out. We need to prioritize our own happiness, our own peace of mind, because if we don't, who will? This doesn't mean we stop caring for others. It means we find balance. We make space for ourselves in our own lives, and in doing so, we become more present, more fulfilled, and ultimately better able to show up for the people who truly matter. By prioritizing our well-being, we create a life that is centered, peaceful, and authentic. The fourth tough piece we need to embrace is this. It's important to realize that the value of your sacrifices doesn't diminish simply because they go unrecognized. The worth of your actions isn't dependent on someone else's acknowledgement. Your generosity, kindness, and love are intrinsic parts of who you are, and that alone gives them meaning. Often, we find ourselves yearning for appreciation, especially when we've spent a lifetime giving to our families, friends, and communities. But to find true peace, especially now in our later years, we must release ourselves from the need for external validation. Stop waiting for others to approve of or appreciate your efforts, particularly now, when time is far too precious to waste waiting for something that may never come. In life, we often confuse external praise with internal fulfillment, and this is where the challenge lies. We might think, if they only knew how much we've done, they would surely express gratitude. But the truth is, not everyone will recognize our efforts, and some never will. And that's okay. Let's be clear on this. Our life should not be defined by someone else's recognition or approval. Once we come to terms with this, we open the door to a deeper, more personal form of happiness, one that isn't tied to how others see us, but rooted in how we see ourselves. Let's take a moment to reflect on a real example. Picture a mother, now in her 70s, who spent decades raising her children. She sacrificed her career, her hobbies, and many of her personal dreams to ensure that her family was well taken care of. She did this with love, never expecting anything in return. Yet, as the years went by, she noticed that her children seldom acknowledged her sacrifices. They were busy living their own lives, and while they loved her, they didn't often express their gratitude. She began to feel unseen, questioning whether her efforts had been in vain. This is where we must remember that the worth of her actions, the worth of any of our actions, doesn't hinge on acknowledgement from others. Her sacrifices were meaningful because they were made from a place of love, not for praise. The key to happiness, especially in this stage of life, lies in letting go of the expectation of gratitude. Once we free ourselves from the need for recognition, we begin to live more freely. We begin to see that our value, our worth, comes from within. When we do something out of kindness, generosity, or love, we must learn to take pride in the action itself. It's a profound shift in perspective, but once we make that shift, we start to feel lighter. We no longer carry the weight of unmet expectations. We live, not for others' approval, but for the quiet satisfaction of knowing we have lived well. There's something deeply empowering about this realization. The power to feel valuable has always been within us. Accepting that recognition may never come doesn't diminish the value of our efforts. It doesn't mean that what we've done was pointless or without purpose. In fact, it means we are choosing to free ourselves from the invisible chains of others' expectations. This allows us to live a more authentic and fulfilled life. As we grow older, we've already given so much to the world around us. Now it's time to live for ourselves. We should be proud of everything we've accomplished, of all the sacrifices we've made, and the love we've shared. But let's remember, the worth of our lives is not dependent on whether others acknowledge it. The power to feel valuable is ours to claim and to hold. By stepping away from the need for recognition, we also allow ourselves to focus on what truly matters. What are the things we value most at this stage of life? Is it peace? Is it joy? Is it the opportunity to spend time doing what brings us happiness? When we no longer tie our worth to others' approval, we free ourselves to pursue these things. We make room for deeper, more meaningful experiences because we are no longer waiting for validation from anyone but ourselves. One of the most transformative truths we can face in life is this: stop using your age as an excuse not to evolve. It's a difficult reality for many to confront, particularly when we hear ourselves or others proclaim, "I'm too old for that." Whether it's about acquiring new skills, shedding unhealthy habits, or embracing fresh avenues for happiness, age often becomes a self-imposed barrier. However, the undeniable truth is that as long as we draw breath, there is always room for change. Too often, we hold on to the myth that after a certain age, profound and meaningful transformations are no longer possible. This belief can trap us in a mindset of resignation, preventing us from experiencing the renewal that life has to offer. Age comes a wealth of knowledge, insight, and a deeper understanding of what truly matters. Every wrinkle tells a story. Every gray hair signifies wisdom gained through life's trials and tribulations. Instead of viewing these as marks of decline, let's see them as badges of honor that symbolize resilience and survival. They remind us that we have navigated through the complexities of existence, acquiring valuable lessons along the way. This accumulated wisdom can serve as a powerful tool for personal growth, allowing us to face new challenges with confidence and clarity. Reflect for a moment on the countless opportunities that may have passed you by simply because you believed it was too late to pursue them. Think of the hobbies you once considered taking up, the careers you dreamed of exploring, or the travels you yearned to embark upon. The real tragedy lies not in the passage of years, but in the self-imposed limitations we accept because of our age. We often fall into the comfort of routine, convinced that venturing into unfamiliar territory is a privilege reserved for the young. Yet every day is filled with choices, and it's vital that we challenge the notion that we cannot venture into new landscapes simply because we have more candles on our birthday cakes. Consider, for a moment, how age can actually serve as a powerful asset. Time bestows upon us a unique perspective that younger individuals may not yet possess. We have faced setbacks, experienced failures, and navigated through life's intricacies. Each of these experiences strengthens our resolve and builds resilience, equipping us to tackle risks and embrace changes with a courage that is often lacking in youth. It's not a question of being too old. It's about recognizing that transformation can occur at any stage of our lives. If we are willing to confront our mental barriers, we can cultivate growth, learning, and a rich, fulfilling existence. Instead of viewing aging as a hindrance, let's redefine it as a launching pad for new possibilities. The world around us is ever-changing, filled with advancements and innovations that offer new paths to explore. In today's digital age, resources for learning are abundant and accessible. We have the opportunity to engage with countless platforms to learn new skills, connect with like-minded individuals, and pursue passions that may have been buried for years. The tools at our disposal are incredible, so why not embrace them? Why not push ourselves to learn and grow in ways we never imagined possible? Embracing change in our later years can sometimes be daunting, and it's only natural to feel apprehensive about trying something new or stepping outside of our comfort zones. We must recognize that every significant journey begins with a single step. We all experience fear and doubt, but allowing these emotions to dictate our lives means surrendering our potential. Let's acknowledge our feelings, but refuse to let them limit our growth. Instead, let's cultivate a supportive environment for ourselves and for those around us, recognizing that encouragement can fuel our journey toward transformation. Building a network of supportive relationships is crucial as we embark on this path of change. Engaging with people who inspire us or who have successfully embraced new chapters in their lives can serve as a powerful motivator. It's easy to feel isolated in our struggles, but we must actively seek connections that uplift and challenge us. This can mean joining groups that share our interests, participating in community events, or simply reaching out to friends and family who encourage us. Surrounding ourselves with positive influences can provide the strength and validation we need to pursue new adventures. In our journey toward embracing change, we should also pay attention to the internal narratives we create. The stories we tell ourselves shape our reality. Instead of repeating the mantra, "I'm too old for that," let's shift our self-talk to something empowering. We might say, "I have the wisdom to approach this challenge," or "I'm excited to learn something new." This reframing can help cultivate a mindset open to growth and exploration. By changing our internal dialogue, we create a fertile ground for positive change, enabling us to break free from the constraints that age can impose. Moreover, let's take the time to celebrate our achievements, no matter how minor they may seem. Every step we take toward change is a milestone worth recognizing. By acknowledging our progress, we reinforce our commitment to personal growth and inspire others to follow suit. Change is not always easy, but it is entirely possible, and it often leads us to a more fulfilling and enriched life. Together, we can reject the idea that age defines our potential and instead embrace our journeys with an open heart and mind. Each new phase of life brings its own unique challenges and opportunities. Embracing these moments with curiosity and excitement can transform our outlook on aging. Rather than seeing ourselves as past our prime, we can view ourselves as seasoned individuals ready to explore new horizons. Life is a series of seasons, and each one presents us with the chance to grow, adapt, and flourish. When we embrace this perspective, we can find joy in the process of evolving, understanding that our journey is far from over. Then, keep in mind the importance of maintaining a positive mindset. Optimism can be a powerful ally in our pursuit of change. By focusing on the possibilities rather than the limitations, we can shift our perspective and create a more enriching experience. This shift can inspire us to take risks, try new things, and break free from the chains of doubt that often accompany aging. When we cultivate an attitude of possibility, we invite new opportunities into our lives and open ourselves up to experiences that can profoundly enrich our existence. Another important lesson is not to cling to the past as if it's your only refuge. Nostalgia, in small doses, can be comforting. It reminds us of cherished memories and good times. However, when we live more in the past than in the present, we risk becoming prisoners of our memories. Those memories are valuable, but they should not drive how we live our lives today. If we spend too much time looking backward, lamenting what has already happened, we risk missing out on the life that still lies ahead. Honor your past, but don't let it limit your present. Embrace the here and now, because it's all you truly have, and in doing so, you will find that life still has much more to offer you. The challenge is to find fulfillment and meaning in your current life without letting nostalgia blind you to the possibilities that still lie ahead. The power of resilience in our lives. Each of us has faced challenges and setbacks, and it is through these experiences that we cultivate strength and adaptability. Resilience is not just about bouncing back. It's about growing from our experiences, learning from our mistakes, and emerging stronger than before. As we navigate through life, we can choose to see difficulties as opportunities for growth rather than insurmountable obstacles. This shift in perspective allows us to face our fears and uncertainties with courage and confidence. Embracing resilience means acknowledging that life may not always go as planned, but with each challenge, we gain wisdom that enriches our journey. We should actively seek connection with others. As social beings, we thrive on relationships that nurture our spirits and broaden our perspectives. Engaging with friends, family, and even new acquaintances can bring fresh energy into our lives. Sharing our thoughts and experiences with others not only strengthens our bonds, but also fosters a sense of belonging and understanding. In this interconnected world, let us not underestimate the value of community. Whether it's through shared interests, common goals, or simply lending a listening ear, these connections enhance our lives in immeasurable ways. It's through these relationships that we can find support during tough times and joy in our everyday experiences. Furthermore, embracing change is essential to our growth. Change is an inevitable part of life, and resisting it often leads to stagnation and frustration. Instead, let us approach change with an open heart and a curious mind. Each new chapter in our lives brings opportunities for learning and self-discovery. We can adapt to shifting circumstances and redefine our goals based on our evolving selves. This willingness to embrace change fosters a sense of adventure, allowing us to explore new paths and possibilities that we might never have considered otherwise. Remember, it's not about the destination, but the journey itself that shapes who we are. We must also prioritize self-compassion as we navigate the complexities of life. Often, we can be our harshest critics, berating ourselves for perceived shortcomings or failures. However, practicing self-compassion encourages us to treat ourselves with kindness and understanding, just as we would a close friend. It allows us to acknowledge our feelings without judgment and to accept our imperfections as part of the human experience. By fostering self-compassion, we create a safe space for growth and healing, enabling us to move forward with a sense of purpose and self-acceptance. Remember that it is okay to be imperfect. We are all on a journey of learning and self-discovery. Lastly, it's necessary to discuss a topic many avoid: the implications of daily masturbation. This is a delicate subject, and we acknowledge the range of feelings that may arise when it is brought to light. The truth is, masturbation, when practiced in moderation, can be a natural and healthy part of human sexuality. However, it's crucial for us to consider the possibility that when this act becomes a daily or compulsive habit, it may signal underlying issues that warrant our attention. We need to ask ourselves, are we using this behavior as a way to escape emotions such as loneliness or dissatisfaction? Compulsive behaviors often create a cycle that provides temporary relief from these emotions, but can ultimately lead to feelings of isolation or disconnection. It's essential that we reflect on how these patterns affect our overall well-being. When we find ourselves relying on a single source of comfort, we risk neglecting the variety of experiences that life has to offer. Engaging in repetitive behaviors can hinder our ability to connect deeply with ourselves and others. leading to a superficial existence that fails to fulfill our emotional needs. Balance is key in all aspects of our lives, including our sexual health. By consciously choosing to reduce the frequency of masturbation, we open ourselves up to the possibility of discovering new forms of pleasure and well-being. This shift encourages us to seek fulfillment in diverse activities that enrich our lives. For instance, taking leisurely walks, immersing ourselves in books, pursuing hobbies, or nurturing connections with friends and family can foster lasting joy and satisfaction. These experiences reconnect us with the world and nourish our emotional and physical well-being without the negative ramifications of a compulsive habit. Importantly, we do not advocate for eliminating masturbation entirely. Instead, our goal is to ensure that it remains a healthy and integrated part of a balanced lifestyle. We create space for more meaningful sources of happiness and connection to flourish. This approach allows us to embrace our sexuality while also recognizing the importance of exploring other dimensions of our well-being. It is about finding harmony between different aspects of our lives, ensuring that one behavior does not overshadow the multitude of joys available to us. As we grow older, achieving balance becomes even more crucial. The interplay of our physical, emotional, and social needs must be managed thoughtfully. We recognize that our desires and needs evolve, and maintaining an open dialogue with ourselves about these changes is vital. Moderation in all things, including our sexual habits, contributes to a more intentional and fulfilling life. We can navigate our sexual health in a way that enhances our overall quality of life. Reducing the frequency of masturbation can free up energy and focus for building deeper relationships and exploring new interests. We cultivate a sense of purpose and fulfillment that transcends temporary relief. This is an opportunity to embrace a well-rounded existence, where emotional, social, and physical needs are met in more meaningful ways. It is also beneficial to engage in open discussions with trusted individuals about our experiences and feelings. Creating a support system allows us to share insights, seek guidance, and learn from one another. By addressing these topics together, we foster a sense of community and understanding, enabling us to navigate our emotional landscapes more effectively. Let's remind ourselves that we are not alone in our experiences, and that sharing our stories can help normalize and demystify these important aspects of life. Navigating the complexities of our sexual health, including the frequency of masturbation, is an important aspect of our overall well-being. We open ourselves to a richer, more fulfilling life filled with diverse experiences and deeper connections. We invite you to explore this topic with curiosity and compassion, taking the necessary steps to ensure that your sexual health is just one of many fulfilling components of your vibrant and enriched life. Together, we can create a path toward a more intentional, joyful existence, where every aspect of our being is nourished and celebrated. As we wrap up this enlightening discussion, take a moment to truly reflect on the powerful lessons we've explored together. From safeguarding your emotional health and breaking free from the quest for external validation to embracing change at any age and seeking balance in all aspects of life, these principles are your roadmap to a more peaceful and purposeful existence. Life is not just about existence. It's about growth, transformation, and harmony. By implementing these insights, you're unlocking the door to a richer, more fulfilling experience. So, let us ask you, what has resonated with you the most today? Which of these insights will you embrace and put into action starting now? Remember, true transformation doesn't happen in a vacuum. It begins when you take meaningful steps based on what you've learned. As you embark on your journey forward, hold on to this truth. You possess the incredible power to create a life that is fulfilling, regardless of your age or circumstances. Embrace your potential and make the choice to live your best life. Thank you for joining us. And remember, every step you take brings you closer to the vibrant life you deserve.